today that you can find where I updated one of our bot templates that I'm running on the new exit options. But figured I was just going to jump back in because this one's going to be a little bit more in depth. I'm going to do a lot more editing on this one, not just adding the new 1 minute exit options to positions for this particular bot template, but I'm also going to be ripping apart a little bit and kind of redoing the monitor automation in this. And the goal for me is to get, I guess, the best of both worlds, like show you how I'm doing it personally with a bot that I'm running in a live account and show you how I think that you should use the exit options plus the regular monitor automations that you have now moving forward. So I hope you enjoy this. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be jumping in the chat here that I can see on the side as we go back and forth. But let's jump into it. Let me know if you guys have any questions as we get going. Okay, so here is the deal. So this right here is a monthly Iron Condor portfolio. This is a bot template that I've been running for quite some time. Has its ups and downs, obviously. Currently going through a little drawdown. No big deal. It's a pretty good win rate. Like the win rate on this thing so far. It does pretty well. The goal is to take profits pretty quickly on these positions and then just do some regular management, settings for these. So not too bad. It's a good starter template that you can start to run. Backtesting wise, does very well across a lot of tickers. It's a nice wide Iron Condor over time. It's done pretty well. So good portfolio, good little bot that I like to run. So here's what I'm doing right now. So I have my Iron Condor scanner for my different tickers that I'm running. So you can see this is the basket that I'm basically running this particular bot template in. And it's got a number of inputs. We've gone through a bunch of podcasts on this, like documented a lot of the stuff that we're doing for this template. But it doesn't have exit options on it right now. So we just rolled out exit options this weekend, which are the 1 minute exit options, and I haven't added them to this particular bot yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add them here. Now, if you look at the monitor automation, which again, the monitor automation is set up to manage your positions. So right now monitors run every 15 minutes, but because we introduce exit options, the exit options also can run every 1 minute. So if you enable the exit options, you can run those every 1 minute that you have a position open. So right now, if you look through this monitor automation, just kind of follow along with me. I'm looking at all the repeating through each of our Iron Condor positions that this bot template would have, or that this bot would have. Then the first thing I'm doing is I'm checking to see if the position has been opened for more than 1 day. Now, this ensures that you don't get flagged as a pattern day trader, but new exit options have this already in place. So you don't necessarily need to have this in place here. And I guess the next thought process that you could have is, well, what other things would you have that would close the position later? And would you still want to avoid being flagged as a pattern day trader if some other thing happened and you were to close the position? So although it might be easy just to say, well, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this one because I don't need it in exit options, probably 99% of the time that'd be true. But maybe there's some case where, and then we'll go through this here together, but maybe there's some case where you do have to close the position, shortly after getting into it. And so you don't want to close that position in the same day and be flagged as a pattern day trader. So for now, just leave that decision in there. At the end of the day, it doesn't hurt anything. It takes a fraction of a millisecond for the bot to run through that decision, and you don't have to worry about it. Okay. So the next thing is, did I reach my profit target? So this one's an easy one that we can replace, right? So for this particular template, there's only one profit target, and that's 25%. That's what we're running this particular template at, is just try to take a very decent, small profit off the table, increase the win rate, reduce the time that we're holding positions, and try to get some consistency going, get some momentum going. So we don't need this one anymore necessarily in this Iron Condor manager. So we can go ahead and remove this one. We can say delete here. And this will keep the no. We want to keep the no path in this case. So if you go back here, so we want to get rid of the yes path, right? And we want to keep the no path. So when I hit delete here, I'm going to go ahead and delete, and I'm going to say keep the no path. Okay, good. So now I've gotten rid of the profit targets because I'm going to add that to the new one that I have. It also shows you over here on the left-hand side, kind of as you're going through your automation, that you have an unused input. So we don't need a profit target anymore because we're going to set that a different place. So go ahead and just delete that input really quickly from there, and I'm good to go. Okay, so the next thing here that I'm checking on this particular template is I'm checking to see if the position expires in less than 5 days, and if the position expires in less than 5 days, and the answer to that question is yes, then I'm checking a switch that I can turn on to close if the position is challenged. Now, this is a really good example, I think, of leaving a manual or a monitor automation in place because it's checking something that doesn't need to be checked every 1 minute, right? So this is why things like this don't go in exit options anyway, because you don't need to check this every 1 minute, right? This is a very specific situation where even 15 minutes of checking is a lot, right? For a position that expires in 45 days, for the vast majority of time, it's going to be checking something that's going to say, no, it doesn't expire in less than 5 days for a lot of times, right? But this is one that you can check kind of with your monitor automations that does something different than your regular exit options, which need to run fast, which need to check for the critical things. So in this case, we're going to leave this whole like yes branch essentially in place for the most part because it's checking a very specific set of criteria, which is, does it expire in less than 5 days? And if so, do we want to close this thing if it's challenged? Now, before we go down that yes path, you can see over here that previously I had put a lot of these standing orders on the no path. So the point here was before we had our exit options every 1 minute, we wanted to have an order that was working to try and just keep an order out there in the market. So even though it didn't expire in less than 5 days, I would still place an order to try and go and get a profit target, right? Which was my position price times 75%, which got my 25% profit target. Well, we don't need that anymore. There's no need to place that standing order because now we've got 1 minute automations that are managing those with exit options. So we don't need that anymore. We can just delete any of those no path orders that are just standing orders that are out there. You don't need to put them in there. You can just send the order whenever it's ready to go for your position. So that actually dramatically cleans up anyway our monitor automation that we have here. And now we can kind of focus, what do we do if the position switch is turned on for the position is challenged or the position is not challenged? Now, in this case, if it is challenged or if the switch is turned on to close if the position is challenged, and think about your iron condor positions for a second. So this would be like checking to see if the stock or the ETF or whatever you're trading is trading above the short strike on the call side or below the short strike on the put side. And that's what this recipe does right here. There's actually a grouped recipe that checks to see if the position's underlying price is above your short call strike or below your short put strike. So essentially, checking to see, is this position currently being challenged? Sorry, is this position currently being challenged by the underlying stock, right? Now, we're only checking this when inside 5 market days. So we're not checking this all the time. We're checking this in a very specific time period in the life cycle of the trade, where the last 5 days where we obviously haven't had a profit, right? Because it's not been taken off for a profit, right? If you use a stop loss, you could use a stop loss too. I don't on these, so I just use a profit target. So we're inside that 5 days. Inside that 5 days, check and see if the position is challenged. And if the position is challenged, and only if one of these is true, so only if it's challenged, then go ahead and close the position. And then you can tag the position a challenged exit. That's really helpful too, because then you can tell yourself later, you can see inside of the details of the position, like why was this thing challenged? Like, was I running out of time? Was it nearing expiration? Whatever the case is, right? And then so you can close that. If the challenge switch is not turned on, what we previously did was we previously closed the position if it expired in less than 2 market days. That's essentially what we were doing. And so in this case, we can, again, just simply remove this entire tree because we can do that now with exit options. We don't have to check it here. Now, you can leave it here and you could, if you wanted to, not set your exit options, but I'm just going to go ahead and set the exit options and use that in this particular example. So you can just go ahead and delete this entire branch here and all of these different actions and decisions and tags and all that stuff. You don't have to do that because you can use exit options now. Okay. So that really simplifies, again, kind of our monitor automation. It's a very specific process that now doesn't do 3 exits because we don't need to do it inside this monitor automation. So you could say, like I'll change this one to Iron Condor Manager with challenged exit switch. And it's for small accounts. So I just resave that automation name there so I know what it is. So again, the only thing here is, do I close it inside 5 days if it's challenged? Yes or no? And if you turn it on no, then it's cool. You can have it in your account. You can take it out if you want to. It doesn't matter. But in this case, it would give you the option to close your position if challenged. Very simple little automation that you can run. Now, if I go into the settings of it, you can see that I do have this one currently turned on. If you turn it off, automation simply does nothing. It won't close anything. It won't do anything. Again, it's just a really easy one to add to your list of automations. It would be a super, super easy one to help manage your position. Okay. So at this point now, we have edited our monitor automation. We've stripped it out for the profit taking and exiting nearing expiration. We do have the challenge exit in there, which is great. So that's in there. But now what we have to do is go to our scanner automation and we have to add our exit options in here. Now you can see our scanner automation is a little bit more in depth because this is filtering for our potential trade, right? This is looping through the list of tickers that we have, right? Kind of like checking our little watch list, checking to make sure the bot doesn't already have a position in this ticker. So this is an important one because we don't want overlapping positions in this bot. We want a good, solid portfolio of different iron condors. Then checking to see if IV rank is in an acceptable range. This allows you to set some different controls on IV if you want to. Make sure the bot has enough capital to enter a position. And then does it pass all of your opportunity filters? So things like bid-ask spread, profit, probability of profit threshold, rate of return threshold. So essentially just only enter positions that meet all my criteria. We've gone over this a lot, but again, if you're brand new and you've never seen it, it's a really cool way to do it. And then you have your open position action down here, which, and I think if I'm still, my video is still really small. Yes, it's like right above where I'm at in the video. Now you have a new choice for exit options. And so exit options allows you to set all of the controls for how you want to exit your new Iron Condor positions as soon as they get open. And again, what's really cool about this is they run every minute attached to that particular position. So if I go here to exit options, then I can set my exit options. Now remember, I took out my exit options, not my exit options, but all my profit taking, I took it out of the monitor because I can run it here faster now. And so I'm going to go ahead and set this to 25% of credit. I'm going to set my expiration as 2 days before. So this will close the position. If it gets to 2 days before expiration, it's going to close the position automatically, right? So it'll close it 30 minutes before the market closed, 2 days before the expiration date. Now remember, inside of our monitor automation before, we were checking to see if the position was challenged 5 days before expiration. So if the position is not challenged, then it'll keep running, and then these exit options will hit 2 days before. If the position is challenged and we're 5 days from inside 5 days from expiration, and I currently have it set up to close the position, I don't want to go further deeper into the expiration week. If the position's challenged and we're in expiration week, go ahead and close the position, recycle capital, go to the next trade, and so on. So I'll just set these profit taking and expiration here for the exit options. And then you can go ahead and check the box to wait at least 1 day to avoid a day trade. Now, again, we can do this here on the exit options. That ensures that if you enter a position, I mean, this is a good scenario, but if you don't want to get flagged as a pattern day trader, you definitely want to check that box if you've got a smaller account. So you get into a position, if you get a quick profit, you could take it, or you could wait at least 1 day to avoid a day trade. And so in this case, because it's set up for small accounts, I'm going to go ahead and check that box and wait at least 1 day to avoid a day trade. Okay, so there are my exit options. You can see that I've set them here for this particular automation. Again, I can come back in here later, which I might do after this and kind of set up some custom inputs for this. But if you want to, you could just set them here. Once they're done, you can come back in here and edit them at any point anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then I'm going to go ahead and save my Iron Condor scanner. So now I know that my scanner is working for these profit targets and exit options. And my monitor is just an additional management strategy that I wanted to do that's a little bit more custom. So this one's an additional management strategy that's a little bit more custom, which is just to check and see if the position is challenged. Because it's the only thing I'm doing, and because I'm doing it later in the expiration cycle, now I feel more comfortable in saying, okay, there's nothing that could really happen. Like I couldn't get to 5 days if I'm entering positions 30, 40 days out. Like it's not going to happen the first day. So I don't need this one anymore. I can go ahead and delete that extra step in there. I don't need the bot to check that. Again, even if it did check it, it would check it really quick and be done and off, and you can leave it in there. But just to keep your automations really, really clean, you can kind of remove all those unnecessary checks if you want to, and keep going with that. So now the last thing I have to do, and hopefully this is helpful, so let me know if you think this is, for those of you watching. I know there's a number of you watching here. So the last thing I have to do is I have to set these for existing positions right now. So this one is an existing position right now. Because it was added before I made all these changes, I can just go into the actual position here. So I don't know if you saw how I got there. I just went to my position tab. I can just select one of my positions, like this FXI Iron Condor, and then I can go to exit options. Again, just go ahead and set these at whatever exit options you want. Since this one was added before, I don't need to set the wait at least 1 day, but you can. It doesn't matter either way. So we can check that and then go ahead and close out of that position. I'll go ahead and set the exit options for this position as well. So let's say I want to take 25%. 2 days before, wait at least 1 day. Again, these are all added, so it doesn't really matter here. This one was opened yesterday, so we're good to go here on this one. It was opened yesterday at 12:30. So again, it would already have waited the extra day, but we'll go ahead and just check that box. You're not going to harm anything by doing it. Get you in a good, consistent habit if you are a small trader to go ahead and check that, wait at least 1 day. So we're good to go here on all these positions that we have here for this bot template that we're running. So now all of our stuff has been edited. Again, we've gone ahead and stripped out all of the additional like profit checks and kind of move those to the new exit options so they run every minute. And then we just essentially made our monitor automation really focused on one particular extra management style that we want to include here. So this is a pretty simple bot to begin with. So it's not an overly complicated bot. It runs two very simple automations and does a pretty good job of trading a neutral basket of tickers, Iron Condors. So you can get a lot more detailed, obviously, with this, like we do in the Hexabot, with multiple management styles and multiple ways of doing it. But this was a really good one. I thought, you know what, I might as well just jump back on and show you guys how we're setting this up with these new exit triggers and kind of how we're adding them into our open position action. You could literally, if you wanted to, just run it with this and it would manage the entire position. You don't have to do the extra challenged if exit. So if you wanted to get rid of that, you just go over here and just go ahead and delete that entire monitor automation. And now it still would run and manage the entire position start to finish all the way through expiration. But you wouldn't have the choice to exit at expiration unless you added something like that or any other thing you want to do, trend or technical indicators or number of positions or total portfolio value. I mean, there's a lot of you can do with the monitor automations, but hopefully this was a really good one to kind of show you how we're doing it, how I'm doing it with bots that I'm running in my account, and how I'm kind of adding and including these new exit options as part of my trading routine, as part of my process for making some of these bots and running some of these automations. So hopefully you all enjoy that. If you have any questions, let me know. Just add a comment or chat right here, and we will make sure we get back to you. So until next time.